The episode opens at Dubai Airport, with Sam getting ready to board his flight to London. Meanwhile, Alec is running extremely late for the same flight, but just as he arrives, a gate agent named Neela calls him over for security check so he can make it on time. However, when he reaches the gate, he finds it already closed. The agent tells him it's too late and he won't be able to board. Alec panics and begs her to let him through because he has to travel, but she refuses at first. Sam notices what's happening and steps in to help convince the agent to let Alec aboard since the plane hasn't moved yet. She eventually agrees, and both of them make it to the aircraft, heading to their seats. Captain Robin welcomes everyone and informs the passengers the flight will be about 6 hours until they land in London. The plane takes off, and the flight attendants begin the usual safety demonstration. Sam, meanwhile, is texting his ex-wife Marcia. He's annoyed by the guy sitting next to him, Hugo, who has his phone volume ridiculously loud. Sam politely asks him to turn it down. Marcia receives Sam's message but completely ignores it, as she's with her boyfriend Daniel at the moment. Hugo tries to make conversation and tells Sam he works in marketing, but Sam shuts him down and asks him to put on a movie so he can enjoy the flight peacefully. Hugo gets embarrassed and apologizes. A little girl named Naomi heads to the restroom, and while she's inside, she notices a bullet lying on the floor. Terrified, she quickly returns to her seat and shows it to her friends, who also begin to panic silently. Marcus, one of the passengers, walks by and notices Naomi looking terrified. He asks her what's wrong, so she shows him the bullet she found. He tells her not to say a word to anyone and promises he'll report it to the flight crew himself. Marcus then heads to a flight attendant named Divya and asks to go up to business class, claiming he needs to talk to a relative. She refuses, reminding him that passengers can't wander around the plane like that. But Marcus insists and slips past her anyway. He approaches a man named Stuart and quietly tells him that a bullet has fallen out of someone from the group. And that's when we realize there's a dangerous hijacking team on this flight preparing for a major operation. Stuart tells Marcus he's going to put on the green cap, a signal for the rest of their team that it's time to move the plan forward. He orders Marcus to go back to the girl and her friends and reassure them. Tell them the crew handled it, anything to keep them calm and prevent them from talking to anyone else. Sam notices the tension in their conversation from a distance, sensing something is definitely off. Marcus returns to Naomi and tells her everything is fine. The crew said the bullet belongs to a soldier on board and must have fallen out while he was in the restroom. Naomi seems slightly relieved, but her friend Muna doesn't buy it at all. She says it's impossible. No passenger is ever allowed to carry a weapon on a plane, soldier or not. Marcus gets annoyed and walks away. Muna decides she's calling a flight attendant herself to get real answers. Meanwhile, Stuart gets out of his seat again, only this time he's holding a bag. Sam immediately notices the bag in Stuart's hands. He heads to a flight attendant and asks if the crew has been handing out any bags to the passengers. She looks confused and tells him no, nothing has been distributed yet. Sam thanks her and starts walking down the aisle, keeping his eyes on the passengers. That's when he sees several people carrying the exact same bag Stuart has. His suspicion grows, and then suddenly, one of them, a woman named Jamie, stands up, pulls out a gun, and threatens everyone on board. Sam quickly slips into an empty seat as all the hijackers reveal themselves one by one, armed and ready. Panic spreads through the cabin. People are screaming, crying, frozen in fear. Divya, the flight attendant, tries to sneak toward the cockpit to warn the captain and alert air traffic control. But Stuart is already waiting for her with a gun pointed right at her head. Jamie warns everyone, if she sees anyone move from their seat, she'll take them out on the spot. At the same time, another hijacker, Jaden, is shouting orders in Arabic, scaring the passengers even more. Two guys whisper to each other. One assumes the hijackers must be Arab terrorists, but the other hesitates, pointing out that the woman leading them speaks perfect English and doesn't even look Middle Eastern. Sam overhears them, but stays focused. He turns to the woman sitting next to him, who's crying uncontrollably, and gently asks her name. She whispers, Amanda. Meanwhile, back at Dubai Airport, Neela receives a frantic call from her husband, Sal, who sounds completely unstable and begs her to come home right now. Back on the plane, First Officer Anna tries to reach any of the flight attendants, but no one responds. Suddenly, Arthur, one of the crew members, hears the cabin phone ringing. He quietly answers and explains to Anna what's happening, but Jamie catches him and threatens to shoot. Arthur immediately hangs up the phone and raises his hand slowly. Anna informs Captain Robin about everything Arthur just told her. Suddenly, they both spot Stuart standing right outside the cockpit door, aiming a gun directly at them. They contact Dubai Airport to report the hijacking, but meanwhile, another hijacker named Lewis starts collecting all the passengers' phones. Stuart approaches a flight attendant named Colette and orders her to speak to the captain and make him open the cockpit door. At first, Anna answers, but the hijackers insist they want to speak to Robin. When he talks to them, Robin refuses to open the door until Stuart starts threatening Colette's life. Not only that, he reveals that he knows a personal secret. Robin and Colette are having an affair. Robin freezes, shocked that they somehow know everything about him. Colette begs Robin to open the door before they kill her. He's torn, panicking, and doesn't know what to do until he finally breaks. When Robin goes to unlock the door, Anna desperately tries to stop him. She fights him, begging him not to open it, but Robin forcefully pushes her back, hitting her just to get her off him. With one final move, he opens the cockpit door. Stuart rushes inside with Colette, pointing the gun at Robin and forcing him to call Dubai Airport again. This time, Robin tells them everything is fine and that the earlier hijacking report was a misunderstanding. The control center is confused, but Robin continues insisting that nothing is wrong aboard the aircraft. Meanwhile, Sam still has his phone hidden. He quickly sends a message to his ex-wife Marcia, telling her the plane has been hijacked and armed terrorists are on board. Right after that, Robin, following the hijackers' orders, disables the Wi-Fi system. Still, the message manages to go through. Marcia reads it and panics, rushing to their son Kai to tell him what Sam just sent her. Daniel, her current boyfriend, who turns out to be a detective, asks what Sam does for a living and why terrorists would hijack a plane with him on it. They tell Daniel that Sam is a professional negotiator, the guy companies hire when they need someone who can secure the best deals and close any negotiation successfully. Meanwhile, on the plane, Sam approaches Stuart and tells him he doesn't care about anyone on board. All he wants is to get home safely to his family. He offers to help the hijackers, pretending he's willing to join them if it means survival. Stuart sits with him, but clearly doesn't trust a word he says. When he checks Sam's passport, he becomes even more suspicious. He orders Jamie to take Sam back to his seat and forces him to unlock his phone so she can check his messages. Sam hands over the phone, and we discover he already deleted the message he sent to Marcia, fully expecting they would inspect his phone. Just then, two passengers suddenly attack one of the hijackers and manage to knock his gun to the floor. Chaos erupts. Everyone starts rushing toward the fight, including Sam. He spots the gun, grabs it, but instead of using it, he hands it directly to Stuart, trying to gain his trust even further. When Sam returns to his seat, he tries talking to Hugo again, but Hugo refuses to even look at him, convinced Sam is now working with the terrorists. Back in London, Daniel calls Zara, one of his colleagues who works in counterterrorism, and asks her for help. He gives her the flight number and tells her everything he knows so far. On the plane, Sam tears out a page from the magazine and writes a message to Stuart. When Stuart opens it, he reads, "The captain is not the problem." Confused, he demands Sam explain himself. Sam tells him that the plane can fly on autopilot. They don't really need the captain, so Robin isn't any kind of threat to them at all. Stuart checks Sam's claim for himself and forces Robin to explain everything. Then he comes out of the cockpit and seats the captain back among the passengers, while Sam sits down and pretends to be playing video games on the screen. Only we discover the game can be played with another passenger, and Sam deliberately picks the seat Robin is in so they can play together, using the in-game chat to talk. And through that chat, Sam learns they're now entering Iraqi airspace and that the Iraqi military will likely try to make contact with the aircraft. Meanwhile, Zara calls her colleagues trying to confirm the flight's identity. The aircraft is listed as Kingdom, and they tell her they already received a warning from the plane, but the captain later called back saying it was a false alarm. Zara's friend reassures her the flight is fine, yet the Dubai air traffic controller remains uneasy and starts checking surveillance cameras to review who boarded this flight. And then he notices Neela, the check-in agent, receive a phone call and run away terrified. Daniel rings Marcia to calm her and to tell Kai everything was just a false report. Marcia explodes with anger, saying Sam always causes trouble while Kai listens silently. And back on board, as they cross into Iraqi airspace, the Iraqi military begins contacting them. So Sam pressures them to respond immediately, warning that ignoring the calls could be treated as a security breach and put everyone at risk. Stewart orders Jamie to bring Anna so she can respond to the Iraqi Air Force, but Sam immediately tells them that the Iraqi military would never accept an answer from the first officer. They'd want the captain to speak to them directly. He warns that if the Iraqis feel threatened or unsure about the plane's identity, they'll scramble fighter jets and could shoot them down with missiles. Despite Sam's warning, Stewart insists Anna will answer. As soon as Anna responds to the call, the Iraqi military asks if she's the captain. She reluctantly claims she is, telling them the aircraft's name, Kingdom. The Iraqi defense quickly pulls up all the data on the flight and discovers that the assigned captain's name is Robin Allen, meaning Anna is lying. She tells them Robin isn't in the cockpit right now and she's filling in for him. The Iraqi side then demands to speak with Robin immediately for security reasons. Robin refuses, refusing to move or speak. Sam tries to convince him, but he still refuses. So Sam threatens Colette's life, forcing Robin to comply. Robin finally steps up and identifies himself, giving his full name and date of birth. When asked if the aircraft is safe, he tells them everything is under control and apologizes for the delayed response, claiming they were dealing with radio issues. The Iraqis buy it and allow the plane to proceed. But while standing there, Robin secretly presses a hidden switch without anyone noticing. Meanwhile, in London, Alice arrives late for her shift in the air traffic control center. She learns there was a hijack alert earlier, but it was marked as a false alarm, so she decides to double-check everything herself. When Alice hears from her boss Simon that the captain reported they were in danger and that a passenger sent a message to his ex saying the plane is hijacked, she grows suspicious. This can't be a false alarm, especially because the plane's Wi-Fi was suddenly shut off. They check the flight path and see it has veered slightly, confirming there's definitely something wrong. We later learn that the deviation happened because Robin pressed a hidden switch while standing up to leave a signal for air traffic control that they were in danger. Meanwhile, the Dubai air traffic officer goes to Neela's house and finds the front door unlocked and cleaning staff inside. He asks where the homeowners are. They say they're cleaning the upstairs. So he goes up and is horrified to find Neela and her husband dead in the bathroom. As he reacts, one of the cleaners turns on him and murders him as well. Alice calls Zara and tells her everything she's discovered. The Kingdom flight is in danger. Zara rushes to the counterterrorism office and files an urgent alert. A plane in danger will land in London in about 8 hours, and they must act now. Back on board, Sam overhears two passengers, Yusuf and Rashida, arguing. Another passenger explains that Rashida is fighting with her husband because he discovered the hijackers' guns are actually fake replicas. The man says loudly that he can tell the difference. He served in the Egyptian army and knows weapons well. Luis, one of the hijackers, warns them to keep their voices down. Sam, trying to calm the situation, tells the man the reason he was speaking loudly is because he wanted to contact his grandchildren. He felt his life might end, and the others were trying to soothe him. After Louis walks away, Hugo quietly tells Sam that he's convinced the guns are fake. Earlier, when they fired shots, no one was hurt, and there was no damage to the plane at all, which makes no sense. Sam tries to calm him down, insisting that no one would hijack a plane with fake weapons. Hugo decides to go to the restroom pretending to feel sick. Inside, he pulls out a tissue and a pen, writes a message on it, and as he walks out, he drops the tissue near the passengers so someone can find it. A woman picks it up and reads Hugo's note. The terrorists' guns are fake because the bullet fired earlier was never found. If anyone finds it, turn on the reading light as a sign. She starts searching the floor for the bullet, but Louis spots her, and she quickly says she's just looking for her glasses. Jamie then storms over and yells at everyone, reminding them no one moves from their seat. Hugo returns to Sam and explains what he did. Sam tells him that was reckless and extremely dangerous. The passenger couldn't find any bullet and didn't turn on the reading light, which only proves Hugo's theory. The guns are fake. Just then, Stewart comes over and forces Robin to the cockpit again because the plane is entering Turkish airspace and the Turkish Air Force is calling them. Robin identifies himself and the Turkish military immediately informs him the aircraft has deviated from its assigned route. Robin panics. Terrified, Stewart might realize what he's been trying to do, so he quickly tells them he'll correct the flight path right away. Meanwhile, one of the passengers, Nasser, starts feeling really sick. He has diabetes and needs his insulin. He asks Jaden if he can get his medication from his bag, but Jaden refuses and orders him to sit still, threatening him and everyone around with his gun. At the same time, the Counterterrorism Command Center gathers to assess all the evidence they have and decide their next move. Alice joins them via video call and explains how the aircraft's flight path is zigzagging rather than straight, a clear coded signal from the pilot that they're in danger. Meanwhile, on the plane, Robin continues communicating with Sam through the in-flight game chat, informing him he was forced to correct the aircraft's course. But when Stuart catches a glimpse of the screen, Robin quickly clears the message. Stuart becomes furious and punches him. Sam tries to step in, but Stuart threatens to kill him if he intervenes again. He then orders Jamie to shut down all passenger screens immediately. While the hijackers are distracted, flight attendant Arthur secretly approaches Sam and Hugo, telling them that earlier, a young girl had found a bullet in the lavatory and tried to report it before everything escalated. Sam then asks the woman beside him to get Yusuf's attention. He wants Yusuf to draw 2 sketches, one of a real bullet and one of a fake round. Yusuf quickly sketches both. Now Sam needs a plan to get the drawings to Naomi so they can confirm what she saw. When the flight attendants start distributing water, Sam discreetly passes the sketches to Divya, who hands them to Arthur, and Arthur manages to get them to Naomi. He tells her in a low voice, if the bullet she found matches the real one, do nothing. But if it matches the fake one, turn on the reading light. Naomi and her friends compare the drawings, and with wide eyes and shaking hands, they switch on their lights. Arthur returns to Sam and discreetly signals that the bullets are fake. Sam shares the news with Hugo, whispering, everything just changed. Daniel calls Zara again, asking for the full passenger list of the Kingdom flight. He's convinced that once he checks the names, he'll find someone with a criminal record, which could help identify the hijackers. Zara insists they're already doing that themselves, and that she can't send him any classified information. Later, Zara calls her friend Heidi to ask if she found anything useful on the passengers, but Heidi has nothing, no suspicious intel at all. Zara then makes a risky decision. She sends the classified passenger file to Daniel because she knows he's a skilled investigator and can help her faster than anyone. Not long after, Daniel calls back with a breakthrough. There are 5 names with no records in the National Civil Registry, completely untraceable. Zara gathers the team and shows them the faces of those 5 ghosts, confirming these are their terrorists. Back on the plane, Nasser can't wait any longer. He opens his bag to get his uncle's insulin, and Jaden immediately jumps on him, attacking violently. The whole cabin erupts into chaos, passengers screaming, struggling, panic taking over. Sam realizes this is the perfect moment for his plan. While everyone is distracted, he slips away, hides, and ambushes Marcus. A brutal fight breaks out between the two. Marcus threatens him with a gun, but Sam boldly tells him they know the bullets are fake. Right then, Stuart loads real ammo into his pistol and shoots a woman, killing her instantly. Terror floods the cabin, screams everywhere. Stuart fires into the air and threatens to kill another hostage if anyone else dares move or speak. He orders Arthur to pick up the microphone and calm the passengers immediately, or more people will die. Marcus forces Sam to tie his own hands and restrain himself. Right then, Stuart notices that the Romanian Air Force is contacting the plane since they've just entered Romanian airspace, warning that if the aircraft doesn't respond immediately, they will take severe action. Meanwhile, Jaden orders Nasser to clean up the mess first, then he can give his uncle the insulin. Back in London, Daniel officially joins Zara's task force, and the UK Foreign Secretary, Louise, is present as well. The Romanian Foreign Minister calls Louise to inform her that a British plane is approaching their airspace and refusing to respond, which forces them to consider military engagement. On the plane, Luis is in serious pain, still bleeding from the stab wound Nasser gave him earlier. Flight attendant Divya tries to help, but Sam points out it's a stab injury and needs proper medical attention. Divya asks over the PA if there's a doctor on board, but no one answers. Sam offers to help her because she can't treat the wound alone, and Luis reluctantly agrees. Moments later, Romanian fighter jets surround the Kingdom aircraft. They instruct the crew that if the plane cannot respond due to a radio malfunction, they must signal, rock the wings, flash lights, anything to show compliance. The hijackers then order all passengers to close their window shades. Jamie turns to Stuart, panicking, saying the jets might shoot them down, but Stuart dismisses her fear and insists a British airliner would never be attacked. That would escalate into full-on war. Elsewhere on the plane, Colette sits with Anna and the 2 pilots being held hostage. One of them tells Colette they must signal the fighter jets somehow, or Romania might destroy the plane if they believe it poses a threat to their country. Colette decides to take action. She gets up, takes a passenger's seat, and opens the window shade so the Romanian fighter pilots can see inside the aircraft. It works. They immediately spot her and witness Jaden violently assaulting her, and they clearly see the weapon in his hand. Robin tries to convince Jamie to let him signal the jets so they don't fire missiles at the plane. She refuses. Then Stuart comes over, and Robin warns him that the jets will attack. They get no response. That is a certainty. Stuart finally relents and allows Robin to try communicating, but Robin quickly discovers the radio system is damaged. Stuart had broken it earlier. Meanwhile, Sam is still with Louis, trying to slow the bleeding as Louis's condition deteriorates rapidly. Louis tells Sam to take his phone out of his pocket so he can call his mother one last time. Sam then notices the phone suddenly has internet connection. The data is still working. Sam dials Louis's mother, and Louis speaks to her with tears in his eyes, saying goodbye, telling her he'll never see her again, that he loves her so much. And his breathing becomes weaker with every word. Marcus searches for medication to help Louis, and Jaden tells him to try the passengers dressed in white, assuming they're Arab and might have medicine, but all they have is insulin. Marcus then stands in the aisle and begs everyone for any kind of painkiller or sedative, but nobody responds. Terrified of the hijackers, he snaps, screaming at them, threatening, and the entire cabin falls deeper into fear. At that exact moment, Marcia receives a message from an unknown number. We then realize Sam recorded a voice message for her, letting her hear what's happening with Louis, hoping she'll understand that he truly is in danger. Marcia calls Daniel and tells him everything. Daniel asks her to send the recording immediately. He takes it to Zara and the rest of the team, and by tracing the phone number, they pull up information about Louis. They discover that all 5 hijackers are actually British nationals. Zara uses that intel to notify Romania's interior minister, and they realize Britain, not Romania, is the target. Back on the plane, Sam keeps calling for a doctor. A passenger named David stands up. He's a doctor and rushes to help. Outside, the fighter jets are preparing to fire missiles at the kingdom, but a last-minute order from the minister calls them off. When Marcia returns home, she finds Kai has left the house. Meanwhile, an unknown man hands Romania's interior minister a sealed envelope containing the terrorists' demands. The minister tells his aide to call Louise, the UK Foreign Secretary, at once. On board, Stuart orders everyone to sit back down and stay away from Louis. After Sam returns to his seat, he sketches the Hungarian flag and shows it to Hugo, signaling he has a plan that could get them out of this. At the Romanian Interior Ministry, the aide reviews security footage from the location where the envelope was delivered to identify who handed it over. At the counterterrorism office, they read the demands aloud. The hijackers insist Britain free Edgar and John, 2 men jailed in a major weapons case and labeled extremely dangerous criminals, and they warn that if their demands aren't met, they will kill everyone on the plane. On the plane, Sam tries to convince Stuart that they must land in the next country, Hungary, to save Louis's life because he's running out of time. Sam also mentions he now knows Stuart and Louis are brothers. Stuart says the doctor claimed Louis was stable, but Sam argues the doctor only said that out of fear. The truth is, Louis won't survive the rest of the journey. He has less than an hour left. Stuart threatens that if Sam is lying, he'll kill a passenger. He marches over to David, the doctor, to confirm the diagnosis. Sam quickly rushes to Divya and tells her to contact David immediately and instruct him to say, less than an hour. She does. And when Stuart walks in and asks the doctor directly, David confirms it. Stuart realizes Sam wasn't lying. He returns to Jamie and tells her they're landing in Hungary. Jamie strongly objects, saying it's far too risky, but Stuart makes the call. Sam then approaches Anna and asks if she speaks Hungarian. She says she can, but assures him most Hungarians speak English anyway. Sam explains he needs her to convince Hungarian authorities to allow them to land and make it clear there are criminals on board, so they take the threat seriously. He brings Anna to the cockpit with Stuart and Robin so she can be briefed on exactly what to say. She then demands Robin be removed from the cockpit. She refuses to share a room with him. Anna contacts the Hungarian air control and requests emergency landing clearance, telling them they have a critically injured passenger who needs medical care. She promises they will depart again immediately after. Throughout the call, Jamie's eyes stay locked on Anna, deeply suspicious of her intentions. Jamie tells Anna to continue in English so Hungarian authorities can fully understand the situation. As the plane begins its descent, Marcus rushes to Stuart, warning him they can't land. This would change the entire plan. If their bosses find out, there will be severe consequences. He begs Stuart to reverse the decision, insisting Louis is stable now and no longer needs medical attention. Sam steps in trying to calm Marcus down, but Marcus panics and reveals something shocking. If the plane lands, their families will be killed. Sam freezes, asking what their families have to do with any of this. Marcus admits their bosses took their passports and threatened their loved ones. That's why none of them can deviate from the original plan, not even slightly. Sam rushes to Stuart and tells him landing must be canceled, and Stuart should hear it from Louis himself. But when Stuart goes to check on his brother, Louis is already dead. Sam immediately contacts Divya, instructing her to inform the cockpit, abort the landing. Meanwhile, Daniel manages to track down Louis and Stuart's mother. She reveals that if she tells them who her sons are working for, she'll be killed. She's being watched and hunted by dangerous people. She excuses herself, saying she needs a tissue, but Daniel realizes too late she's trying to escape. She throws herself into the street, killing herself rather than betray whoever is behind the hijacking. Back in Dubai, neighbors report Neela missing after cleaners were seen leaving her home suspiciously. Police storm the house, and the disturbing details quickly hit the news. The counter-terrorism unit sees the photos of the murdered victims. At that same moment, Kai is at his father Sam's home when suddenly armed cleaners break in holding guns. The armed men tear through the house searching for Kai, but he manages to hide just in time. Meanwhile, the government agrees to release Edgar and John. A car is waiting outside the prison to pick them up. Edgar warns the prison warden, if anyone follows them, every passenger on that plane will die. Unknown to them, the car has a tracker installed. Counterterrorism Command is secretly monitoring their route. They also deploy 3 surveillance vehicles to keep eyes on them, one of which is Daniel's. But Edgar quickly realizes they're being tailed. He abruptly stops in the middle of the road, walks directly to Daniel, and hands him a phone. Edgar speaks on that phone and makes it clear, if anyone continues to follow them, the passengers on the plane will be executed. Command responds by launching drones to track Edgar and John from the sky instead. Back on the plane, Stuart receives a message from Edgar ordering him to kill another passenger and send photographic proof. He informs Jamie, and they choose Divya as the next victim. They sneak up behind her, planning to strangle her, but Sam catches them in the act. He steps in and says there's no need to kill anyone else. Stuart already killed a passenger. They move to the woman's corpse, and Jamie orders Sam to sit the body upright and place a note on her with the plane's name. Colette takes a picture of the scene. Seconds later, Edgar calls Daniel and coldly tells him he's about to prove his threats were real, since Daniel insists on continuing surveillance. He hangs up and sends the picture taken aboard the aircraft. Daniel is horrified. He forwards the image to Zara, who shows it to the entire team. Shock and panic wash over the room. The hijackers are deadly serious. Sam speaks quietly with Hugo, worried they'll be forced to stage another corpse photo, which would mean anyone could be next. They agree they need a plan to take control of the plane and save themselves. Sam slips Hugo's hand into his pocket, and Hugo secretly pulls out a pair of scissors he'd swiped from the first aid kit amid the chaos. Hugo uses the scissors to start freeing his bound hands, and when Stuart walks by, they quickly hide the tool and make it look like Hugo's still restrained while Sam keeps his own hands tucked away. Meanwhile, journalist Felix meets a man named Devlin at an empty bar. Devlin tells him to run a story claiming Kingdom Airlines stock has crashed and to publish it within 30 minutes. If Felix refuses, Devlin threatens to expose him as a paid peddler of scandal. Devlin then calls Edgar to confirm the job is done. Edgar phones Daniel and reports the route is blocked. The road ahead is full of police. It's clear Edgar ordered the obstruction to delay any tailing vehicles until the plane lands. He warns that as long as people keep following them, he will start killing passengers. Daniel tries to reason with him, but Edgar slams the line shut. Daniel urgently calls Zara, begging her to pull the police off the road and let Edgar pass, because lives on the plane are at stake. Back on board, Sam scribbles a short message on a juice carton and slips it into circulation among the passengers. The note calls for unity. They must band together and fight to protect themselves if they hope to survive the hijackers. But Jaden notices the notes and grabs a juice carton, handing it to Jamie. She shows it to Stuart, who immediately suspects Hugo. He'd seen the pen with him earlier. Stuart opens the new message from Edgar, ordering another passenger killed, and points at the note. The next victim will be that man. Sam stands up and insists it wasn't Hugo. He shows Stuart the pen in his own hand as proof. At the counterterrorism office, a fierce argument erupts between Louise and Neil. Louise wants the police to stand down and comply with Edgar's demands to protect the passengers' lives, but Neil insists they must strike. These are dangerous criminals, and they can't just let them escape. When Neil orders the police to raid Edgar's car as it arrives at the airport, they find the vehicle empty. Edgar and John have tricked the police and switched to another car. Back at Sam's house, Kai finds a landline hidden under the bed and tries to use it to call for help, but he's too scared to speak with the armed intruders nearby. He presses the emergency number anyway, and the operator understands there's a threat. On the plane, things spiral out of control. Sam lunges at Stuart and knocks him down, causing the gun to fall. Sam reaches for it, but Stuart stops him. The weapon discharges, and a bullet hits Arthur's leg. Arthur screams in pain. Suddenly, Amanda heads to the lavatory. We see her prepare. She has a gun. When she comes out, she shoots Captain Robin, then storms into the cockpit and locks the door behind her. Amanda sits in the captain's seat and begins working the controls. It's clear she knows what she's doing and is a skilled pilot. Sam asks Stuart whether Amanda is one of them. Stuart swears he's never seen her before. The passengers manage to unite and overpower several members of the gang. They tie them up and seize their weapons. Sam grabs Stuart's pistol and tries to calm everyone down. When they check the gun Sam took, they find it's the only one loaded with live rounds, which means there's a far bigger problem now, and they need a plan fast. Sam asks Jamie to go into the cockpit and talk to Amanda to let her know the passengers have taken back control of the cabin. Jamie refuses. She says Amanda is clearly following a backup plan, and they don't know her or what she intends to do. Anna goes to fetch her bag, and the others learn she has a little girl. Sam decides to use the child as leverage and tries to pressure Amanda through Anna's daughter, but Amanda suddenly severs the phone line. The passengers then notice the aircraft has changed course. Alice alerts the counterterrorism unit. Kingdom has altered its route. Daniel calls Marcia to check on her and Kai. She tells him Kai went to his father's house. Daniel jumps in his car and races off. He knows Kai could be in danger. At Sam's house, emergency police arrive and ring the bell. One of the gunmen opens the door and pretends to be a cleaner. The officer believes him and leaves, thinking it was a false alarm. Meanwhile, the second gunman spots Kai and points a gun at him. Back in the sky, the passengers see fighter jets circling the aircraft, jets that were ordered to surround them by Neil. He coldly tells Louise that killing 200 people on the plane now would be better than letting the aircraft crash or explode over London and killing many more. Louise replies that this isn't her decision. The Prime Minister must decide. All the passengers demand their phones back and asks Stuart where he hid them. He refuses because the moment they contact the outside world and reveal that a rogue pilot is now in control, the military will shoot the plane down. Anna spots the bag with the collected phones, and they soon notice one of them ringing. Sam answers. It's Alice from air traffic control. They manage to reach a number belonging to one of the passengers. She asks to speak with the captain, but Sam lies and says the pilot is injured and unable to respond, that Anna, the first officer, is the one flying the plane. He doesn't want Alice to know someone unknown has taken the cockpit. Alice pushes back. She doesn't believe him and demands the truth if she's going to help them. Sam finally admits a woman named Amanda has seized control, shot Captain Robin, and locked herself inside. Meanwhile, Neil is pushing hard for missile authorization. Louise refuses, telling him she will not be part of murdering innocent British citizens. Neil argues it's not murder, it's protecting the country from a catastrophic attack. Louise calls the Prime Minister and pleads with her to call off the strike, saying she'll accept all the consequences, but they cannot shoot down their own people. The Prime Minister agrees and orders the fighter jets to stand down. The warplanes peel away from the Kingdom aircraft. Elsewhere, Edgar and John sit with a third man. Edgar watches Kingdom Airlines stock price plummet on his phone, almost enjoying it. Suddenly, John walks up to the third man with them and says the plan has changed. Without hesitation, he kills Edgar. Then he and John drive off together in a different car. Meanwhile, Daniel calls Kai on his phone, but one of the gunmen forces Kai to answer and pretend everything is fine. Kai tries to signal that he needs help by telling Daniel not to come and that he's going back home, and Daniel immediately understands that something is wrong. He contacts Zara and requests police backup at Sam's house. Daniel arrives with the police just in time and rescues Kai. The gunmen are arrested. Back on the plane, the passengers find Amanda's phone. There's a picture of her daughter, Woody, on it. Sam tries to use the phone's camera to talk to Amanda and appeal to her through her child. The passengers start trying to break into the cockpit, and Amanda calls her phone. Sam answers. Amanda reveals she has no choice. Her daughter is being held hostage, and if Amanda doesn't follow orders, her little girl will be killed. She explains she is waiting for a message confirming the deal has gone through. Then she will land the plane. But if no message comes, she will crash the aircraft into central London. Sam tells her Stuart admitted something terrifying. The criminals plan to kill her daughter either way. They can't risk leaving a witness alive. Amanda breaks down. The truth hits her hard, and she decides to trust Sam. She unlocks the cockpit only for him. Sam enters alone and begins coordinating with Alice to help guide them for landing. That's when they discover the fuel is critically low, dangerously close to running out. Sam needs Amanda to take the controls. She's a trained pilot, but Amanda is overwhelmed, terrified, fully convinced she's heading to prison for killing Captain Robin. Sam urges Alice to guarantee Amanda protection. She killed under duress with a gun to her head. Neil joins the call. He has been listening the entire time and reassures Amanda that she will not be prosecuted. That promise finally gives her enough courage to help. She begins the landing procedure, but suddenly, the aircraft loses all power. Total blackout. Alice urgently instructs Amanda to activate the auxiliary power unit. The plane sharply dives. Passengers scream as terror fills the cabin. It feels like the end. In the chaos, Sam asks Alice to send Marcia a message. Tell her she was right. I shouldn't have taken the flight. The aircraft drops lower and lower until it violently crashes onto the runway. Part of the fuselage breaks apart. Emergency vehicles rush in from every direction. Firefighters and medics swarm the wreckage, helping passengers escape the damaged plane. Amanda hugs Sam, thanking him for saving her and saving everyone. Police take the surviving hijackers into custody. Shocked and trembling, the passengers step off the plane, barely believing they're alive. As Sam leaves, he suddenly remembers something and heads back into the aircraft. But Stewart slips inside and locks the doors behind them, armed and furious. He threatens Sam with the gun. Sam hides, waits for the right moment, then attacks, overpowering Stewart. The police storm the aircraft and arrest him. Sam Nelson, with his calm mind, negotiating skills, and sheer bravery, saved an entire plane and every soul on board.